So as always, we invite you to find that comfortable position in the chair or lying if you are. Just be aware of the weight of your body on the chair or the surface you're lying on. Be aware of any tension in your body and just send love to those areas, blessing them. And then with our eyes closed and our attention inward, we let go of any busy thoughts, let go of any concerns. As we center into our heart center, I invite you to put your hands over your heart so that you become even more aware of that center of divine love within you, which is much more than the physical heart, but also that center, the energy center of the vibration, the very high vibration of divine love. And then I invite you to take 3 conscious deep breaths, breathing down into the belly, filling the belly and the chest with air. And then exhaling fully and gently. And do that 2 more times at your own pace. Continue to keep your attention in the heart. As we remember the spiritual truth that each one of us is always loved fully and completely by the Creator. Scripture tells us that even the very hairs of our head are numbered, that each of us is important and valuable, and that the one mind knows the desires of our hearts even before we ask and even before we are clear about those desires. And we just let our hearts open like a beautiful flower opening to the sunshine and the rain. As we open ourselves to the light of love, knowing that we are eternally loved, no matter what we do in this human experience or what we don't do, no matter what happens to us, we are continually loved without pause, fully accepted just as we are, with all of our humanness, remembering that we are infinite spiritual beings, and because of that, we are capable of all-encompassing love as well. And we begin with loving and accepting ourselves, continuing every day to express gratitude, appreciation, and acceptance of yourself. And we release any thoughts or beliefs that have come into our consciousness that we are not good enough, we are not valuable, not worthy. All of those are lies of the fear-based ego. For truly we are extremely valuable, worthy, gifted. And just notice how you feel when you hear those words. You are perfect just as you are. You are light and love. You are divine. Take a breath again, take that in. And I invite you to allow yourself to be open to these words of truth. Allow them to become your thoughts if you are in agreement with them. I fully love and accept myself just as I am. I am a sacred human being having a spiritual experience. In every moment, I am doing the best I know and to do and can be in that moment. I choose to be kind to myself, compassionate with myself, forgiving myself when I fall short of my highest expression. I am gentle and caring with myself, giving attention to the needs of my body, my emotions, and my mind. Continually affirming my well-being, my worthiness, my expression as a part of the divine. More and more, I choose to observe my thoughts, my feelings, and my actions, choosing and choosing again to be centered in love for myself and for others. For as I love myself and accept myself, I am more able to love and accept others, knowing that every unkind thought, word, or action is coming from fear and pain of the human experience. For in the truth of my being, I behold the truth of every other person that I come in contact with, and I behold their divinity and allow myself to express my divinity. I start each day with the intention to show the world what true divine love is, beginning with loving myself. And take a nice deep breath again. Notice how you're feeling. And just give yourself an energetic hug. Imagine that you are enfolded in divine love, comforting, caressing, holding you gently and lovingly. And so as we feel that energy of love expanding and expressing within us, I invite you to take your hands off your heart and hold them toward the screen, extending love to each one in our circle or on our screen, knowing there's no time or space in spirit. We share our love together right now and extend it to all people everywhere and to our planet. Feel that energy expanding in your heart area outward from your body into the room and beyond into the world. You are the light of the world. And so it is. Amen. Now, when you're ready, I invite you to open your eyes and rejoin the group visually and giving a namaste to one another.
Are we all back? Okay. Lisa, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. today I would like to know what it is that what was your mindset when you woke up today? What were your thoughts this morning as you woke up? I'm going to start with Charlotte.
Let me think back. I think I would, I just had the thought of how beautiful everything was and how beautiful I felt. And I just felt yummy.
Yummy.
That's mostly what was going on when I woke up this morning.
Okay, thank you for sharing.
Okay.
Donna.
When I first woke up, I saw the light coming in the bedroom and I thought, oh no, I overslept because I usually like to try to get up around 6. But it was like 7-ish. And I thought, oh, that isn't too bad. So then I was like, oh, goody, I get to read A Course in Miracles, which I do every morning. And I look very forward to it. It sets the tone for me for the day in a positive way. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Diane. Diane Henley. She froze on me. Okay, I think I'll wait for her to come back online. Virginia. You just answer the question. I'm hearing you very muffled.
Hear at all.
Mute. She's
I
muted.
cannot hear you.
I was trying to get a work around the echo that I'm hearing from her because we have an open space between us. And I was thinking if I had headset,
I mean, that's actually bothering me
the echo.
because I cannot concentrate on what people are saying.
Okay,
Because I have that echo
all right,
behind.
I'm going to the bedroom. Okay, the other room.
Okay, I'll ask Diane. Go back to Diane. Diane.
Let me see if I can do it from here. Oops.
Okay. I changed the question back to Diane. I'll be back to you.
And not just money, it's all the things that we have in our life that, you know, bring us joy and pleasure and the things we need. So had a good experience waking up. Whoops, Angie's frozen. Angie's gone.
We can't hear a word you're saying, Rev. And you're unmuted. Not sure what's going on with Angie.
She froze and then she.
Looks like she's having tech.
This morning when she asked me what I felt when I first woke up, I felt a lot of discomfort, having bad headache and bad pain. So I got up and had coffee and what have you. First thoughts was, what is this pain coming from? Is it my pillow that's making me have the neck ache and the headache, or is it, something else? So that's what my first thought was this morning when I first woke up.
Well, thank you. Sarah.
Well, it was unusual, but this morning I woke up kind of going through an argument I had with someone right before I went to bed the previous night, and rehashing it out in my head. And so then I spent time telling myself to make different choices and that I didn't need to justify the argument. And I spent time meditating, and I just drank my coffee outside for 30 minutes, watching and listening to nature and trying to get myself in a better place.
Okay, thank you. Lisa.
Okay, well, I woke up early. I fed the cats. I was tired, so I said, well, I wanted to meditate, but I was tired, so I said I'd go back to sleep and I'll get up and meditate later. And then I got up a few hours later, and I was like, Charlotte, I had a lot of I was just very joyful and happy. And then when I physically got out of bed, I was like, ooh, my body hurt.
Okay, thank you. Sam?
Hi. Well, the first thought I had was it was dark, and I thought, I wonder what time it is. And I looked, and it was not even 5 o'clock. Mornings have been very tricky for me with trying to stay relaxed for a while before everything kicks in. So I could feel my brain starting. So I went into YouTube and I put on one of those, what is it, 4.2 gigahertz, whatever, subliminal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it feels very healing and soothing to my brain. I'll start with that. And that worked for a little while. And then I went over to, I tried to do a guided meditation, and that started setting me off. So then I went to another one where a woman was, she was a spiritual, like a pastor. I went and got on that. And then I realized, and finally got to the point was like, you're up. So I listened to the birds, and I did get a medication change. So I realized that was partial. Brain started going, started worrying. So I whipped it all back in and started doing some deep breathing. And then I did EFT, and then I got up.
Good.
I'm tired from listening to all the stuff I had to do this morning.
A Penny?
Oh, yeah,
You muted yourself.
I told my story earlier, but you were not, I guess
Right, I
you
couldn't.
wanted to hear it again? Oh, okay. I had just said that that I woke up and was so grateful to have been able to sleep so well, and that's like the third night in a row, which is just such a blessing. I can't tell you what a blessing it is to be able to sleep. And then the next thing I always do is hug my cats, Peaches and Anastasia, hold them and tell them how much I love them, and talk about how they're whole and well. They are whole and well.
Unconditional love, right there.
And then Anna comes over and sits next to me while I read the daily word, which I read was prosperity today. So, and then I have a Louise Hayes calendar by my bed, and I read the daily affirmation to her as well.
Okay, thank you.
She's a very spiritual cat.
Right. Virginia?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear everybody. It was me having problems over here.
No, while you were gone, they couldn't hear me, and that was because I had plugged in a headphone, and then it automatically, anyway, I changed the settings, and now you can hear me. So my first, I begin the day with gratitude for the day and the opportunity to express my spiritual nature. And sometimes I do some breath work before I get out of bed and center myself that way. And that's how I start. And then I often sit on the side of the bed and do some energy balancing things too before I put my feet on the floor.
Thank you. Now, for me, I normally I'm awake, but I usually work at night and go to sleep in the morning just before the class starts a couple of hours. But for the past 2 nights, I've been sleeping at night and getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning. You know, so I got up at 4 and I said, okay, I have a couple of hours to work, and I should be done by 6 and go back to bed. Well, when I woke up at 4, I came and turned the computer on and attempted to bring my Word document so I could start typing or copying or whatever, and it was asking for permissions. So I spent 2 hours trying to get into my Word document because it was asking for the password from God only knows when, from years ago when I first got this computer with the Word, with all the Word access and all the Microsoft, the PowerPoints and all of that. So I had to go. It says no, the phone number that I didn't have, it didn't even have simple things like I'm a female. It says enter gender, and evidently Ron set this computer up for me, but because he couldn't say that he was male because the computer was mine, he put non-gender specific. So there was no way for me to qualify for that, so I could never find I could not get authorized to get back in it. And I said, well, I'm paying for this thing, I pay yearly every year for these programs to be able to use them. And, I was freaking out. It took me 2 hours. And I said, okay, now it's 6 o'clock. Do I have enough time to do this and to go back into my, and sleep? So I did. I finally finished. So I finally did go back to sleep and woke up. But before I went to sleep, I tried to turn off the computer, and it says, please don't turn the computer off. It says, go ahead and restart because there's some updates. So, okay, so I went and hit, shut off and restart. And the computer sat there like frozen for about half an hour, and it says, do not move anything, do not shut off the computer, don't do anything. And I'm sitting here like, okay, first I already spent 2 hours, previously with the Word. Now I'm doing this with Microsoft again because it's a Windows computer. So I had to go through the whole entire system and reset the entire computer on Microsoft. So I went back to sleep, and the computer was still updating, and I went to sleep, and I woke up with, I hope the computer is ready because I won't be able to be in my class if it's still sitting there, So that was my thought, and I said, that's it? Is that all you have to say? I mean, this is how I'm talking to myself, and I didn't know why I was talking to myself that way. Is that all you gotta say? I said, yeah. It says, okay, can we relax now and let it go? Yeah, it's like two people having a conversation in my head, it's like me and mini me or maxi me, whatever, Um, and it was a conversation like, okay, let it go. So, give that to the universe and let the universe fix it, or whatever needs to happen, let it happen. I said, okay. So my thoughts, I wish I could say that I got up with oh my goodness, I have the Course in Miracles to get up to. I'm going like, is my computer working or not? But I mean that, life happens. So, okay, that was my story. Um, so anyway, I'm going back to what we have been looking at, which is the It's Always Monday. Um, it's Only Monday, Only in Your Mind by Michael Kupel. Um, we spent a lot of time on love based, which was the last subject we covered, and we spent about 20 minutes on that. It was a good discussion. So because people have an erroneous idea of what love is, according to what we consider ourselves to be kind, and it's not necessarily a kind attitude or a kind. It's not a behavioral thing. It is a way of being. Okay, so that's all I have to say, unless somebody had any questions from last week. No? Okay. So I'm going to go to present moment view. Um, Viewing life where the focus is in the past or future is as though one is blind. The conditioned mind makes you think you see, but it is only in the present moment that the puppeteer strings of the past and future are severed, one string at a time. And that's when you use the robot to sever that. There are so many benefits living in the present moment as compared to living in the past or future. It's amazing that this isn't realized by more people. If it was, the world would be so different, because greed, hate, and delusion will not exist. This will occur naturally because when one lives in the present moment, most of it is not all of the nonsense of the conditioned mind also will then exist. At least this has been my experience. There's very little attachment in the present moment. Actually, there's no attachment in the present moment. Because the moment you begin attaching, then you already lost the moment. That's me talking right there. And there's very little attachment in the present moment, and to be with that attachment is to be with that burden. Life still happens in the present moment, but with that attachment, it's allowed to be as it is without the need for the nonsense. This shouldn't be mistaken for not caring, because there's much more compassion living in the present moment than living in the past or future. The nonsense is recognized for what it truly is, so this produces less unnecessary reactions. It's a little baffling because the present moment isn't everyone's default way to live, because living in the past or the future isn't beneficial in any way. It's the cause of why there's so much greed,
Angie, we can't hear you.
Looks like she's frozen. Shouldn't be.
will be experienced. Outside circumstances will continue their onslaught of control, and the past and future will remain as your puppeteers. Only in the present can true freedom be experienced, and with that freedom manifest as is in no more attachment or clinging to a self that only sees things through the view of the past or the future. Only a present moment, only a present moment view can cut the puppeteer's strings of the past and the future. The To me, anytime that you react, now this is me, this is not the book, anytime that you become reactive instead of acting, and there's a big difference between reaction and action. Reaction is an emotional response, an emotional feeling, and very controlling, attempting for control of whatever seems to be the perceived threat. So there's reaction and there's action. A self-actualized being is not in a reactionary mode. Um, the reacting kind has a lot to do with, and only, not a lot to do, everything that it has comes from ego. So every time you find yourself unnerved, anxious, jittery, and don't even really know what, just it's the ego, just say, oh, it's a story. It's a story playing in the background of my mind trying to conceive an imminent threat that is not there. Something to defend itself against. So I'm opening the I'm opening the I'm open for questions. And it seems like very easy, the subjects, but there should be questions because a lot of times we don't even realize when we are reactive. Most of us do not know when we're reactive. We think that we're totally actualized and we're always at that, unless we feel that you're so out of control that you really understand that you know, you're reactive. But there are other less anxious ways where you are looking for answers and looking to do something and you think you're being present, but you're not. The mere act of looking for things, looking for a solution, is an ego thing. And yes, I see
I
a
have a
finger.
question. I do have a question. So
Yeah.
what do you do to quickly move into the observer mode when you realize that you're reacting?
You ask the observer to come and join you immediately. That should be a no. There should be no hesitancy for the observer to jump in as long as you ask. You have to ask.
So how do you do that exactly? I mean, what words do you use?
I usually go, okay, come on in. I need the observer. I need you to meet the observer. In other words, is my invitation for the higher self to come in and instruct me or take over or to be, when Paul said it's no longer I, but the Christ who lives, I die every day, you know, so the Spirit of God can express. That's when you start to cultivate the idea, not the idea, the attitude of surrendering to that. To I call it the observer because it's less threatening than saying, okay, I'm calling the self to come in and express. Okay. So the self has all the answers. It doesn't need to think about things. And there might be a reason that you're not getting an answer yet because it's not time for that specific action. So you might be trying to force something that's how come you're not getting a correct response, because things should flow when they're in alignment. There is no force anything. You don't need to bring it from the cloud nine. Okay, everything just comes and it's flowing and it's right there in the flow of things. Okay, you get it? Virginia, did you get it? Okay. Yes, Penny.
So then what happens if you ask the observer to join you and you said, but you don't get that flow. What happens if you're still in the reactive mode? I mean,
You're asking for help, okay? You cannot get help unless you ask for it.
okay.
Okay, if you're lost, it's because you're no longer in sync. If you're in a position of reaction, then you need to ask if you want to for help. You know, you have not because you ask not. My people perish for lack of knowledge, and one of the lack of knowledge is that you always have help available to you, but you need to ask in order to receive. So
if
you need to remember, first of all, be clear enough to know what it is you're asking for. And if you don't know even that, then just go, I need you, I need clarity, and I need direction. Not, I want a specific answer to this specific problem, because that's not how things work. Do you understand?
Yeah. Well, I was
Okay.
thinking if you're too emotional, then you just have to do the whole sequence to give it to the robot first, and then maybe ask the observer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Anybody? Yeah. Anybody else? No. Okay. Moving on. The next one is the love of Jesus, but you might as well say Buddha or Krishna or whoever you're, you know, it's not attached to any label, so to speak, but it's what we call, what I call the higher self. You cannot act out of love if love isn't what you are cultivating. It's we who need to do the necessary practice so we can clear the way to become touched by love, that we can be touched by the love that Jesus showed us. The other day, I was talking to someone who acted in a way he wasn't pleased with. What he said to me is he would have liked to have acted more like Jesus. My response to this person was, unless you are practicing the way Jesus did, there is no way you can act like him. Occasionally, I see a bumper sticker that says WWJD, what will Jesus do? But you cannot do what Jesus would do if you were not practicing what Jesus practiced. And what did Jesus practice? He submitted to the Father, quote unquote, love in prayer and meditation ceaselessly. This allowed the Father energy to make unconditional love the base of his life. If you practice like Jesus, maybe you can act more like him. Or in times of difficulty, when you ask, what will Jesus do? You will have the necessary tools to behave in the matter of Jesus, but don't expect it to happen on its own, because you can only act in the way that you have practiced. Whether it's done consciously or unconsciously, acting from the love that Jesus exhibited is available to all of us. But it can only happen when our entire being is given to follow the Father, which is love. This is what a spiritual journey entails. Love has to be its base for it to be genuine. Give a little, receive a little. Not many are willing to give their entire life over to the energy of the Father of love. Just realize this is just realize this. If you don't, there's no way that you can act in the ways that Jesus acted. Love cultivated is love given. And that's the part about love, the love of Jesus, that if you want to practice that, I think it was in last class where we mentioned that you can only act in the ways that you have practiced. if most of your day and things are practiced in thoughtless, not thoughtless, but ceaselessly chatter in your mind and just communicating and not really attempting to connect to that energy that is so there with you freely at 24/7. You know, you cannot react out of that. I believe last class I said all intentions, all good intentions, you know, are what does it say? The road to hell is with good intention.
With intentions, yeah.
Uh-huh. And and that's the reason, because we can have the best intentions, but we are not coming from that because we're not used to maintaining that frequency. And all we have to do is be aware and ask that we do, and be able to surrender instead of trying to control everything. You know, how do I do this, and how do I force this, and how do I, you know, and all this is about force, is about getting things done. It's not about being loving. It's not about connecting with that. Even if I'm talking to you about this, but if I don't practice it, it doesn't serve me. And like if I'm giving you this, and if you don't practice what I'm giving you, it won't serve you. But it is available to you all the time. And that is the main phrase here, is that what he could do, you can do also. Not because it's difficult, but because are you willing to give free control, let go of your control, and surrender to love, not to something else, but you're surrendering to love, to the essence of love. And that is an individual decision, and you know, whether you do it or not, um, it shouldn't be a matter of discussion, but it is whether you are wanting to do that, whether you want to connect to that bliss, whether you want to connect with that assuredness, to that confidence. Because when you walk on that, when you walk with that, you walk in confidence. There's no ifs or you know that you know that you know, not because you know individually, because you know collectively. And by collectively, I don't mean the human collective, but the soul collective, the oneness. Questions? Yes, no, maybe? Yes, Sarah.
Um, do you see this process as a continual process, like a decision and a choice you're making every moment, every day? Like you're continually making the conscious effort to surrender to that higher conscience, to surrender to love. And it's like kind of like you said, like a daily practice, a practice in every moment of, the more you do it, maybe the less it becomes a conscious choice and more
Right. I mean, you have to use the tools that you're used to using. For example, uh, you know, you have to start where you're at. And if you need to use affirmations, or if you need to sit there and observe your breath, or if you need to sit there and continuously call the observer, you know, um, I like to observe my child through this. You know, just enjoy him in love, in the essence of love, and call the observer, not you, and see what behaviors or what he's saying or not saying or whatever. Just let love be present to have this exchange of communication, or just the enjoyment of that. The same, you can do the same with your mother and with your husband and with anybody you meet. Uh, you can go to the grocery store and say, show me uh, a loving way to see what's in front of me. Not, oh my God, that child, or this you know, is misbehaving, or that um, that woman is so loud, or there's such a long line and I'm in a hurry, or, we're always anticipating and trying to get things out of the way. So it's a hurried life.
Mhm.
Step back in your own pace. That's step number one. If you cannot allow yourself to do that, you cannot get things done. But if you allow for you to step back momentarily, you will get more things done, because then you're allowing spirit to move in. But if you said, I don't have time to do that, I don't have time to meditate, I don't have time to do whatever, nobody's asking you to meditate to get into that space. You don't have to. It's
Mhm.
already there. The thing is just invite that presence to come through. Be aware of that which is already there. So you become aware, consciously aware, and call that love energy to flow through you.
Okay,
Got it?
well, thank you. Yeah, it just seems like because in the moment of now, that the more you do it, the more you practice, the more it becomes less of a conscious thought and just your normal way of being. And then you develop it as you get to more of a continual state of being present and connected. And you don't maybe need as many tools, or you know what I mean, to get you there. So that's what I was
Right.
just
Mm-hmm.
asking about. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else before I move on? Uh, we're going to inner agitation. All agitation arises from within your inner questions. Without discipline, the mind that's full of questions won't have any answers provided, so you will have to look externally and constantly be agitated. All agitations are ego-based because they come from the conditioned mind. If you are agitated with what's written here, that arises from within you. The words don't cause it. It doesn't matter if you agree with this or not. Just understand, if there's an agitation, it comes from within you, not from what is written or from the outside. Oh, how we love to point at others for our own self-created agitations. But the only reason this is so is because of the lack of understanding of your own mind. Nothing causes an agitation unless it's allowed. I'm going to repeat that. Nothing causes an agitation unless it's allowed. If you can change something, by all means, change it. But if it's being changed just because you don't like it, it needs to be looked at. Why there's an agitation to begin with. Because even if the thing is changed, you will just move on to the next thing that will cause you to become agitated once again. Everything that I have come to understand over the last 13 years has arisen from within myself. It has been through the practice of discipline that real answers have arisen directly from my own inner questions. I can't have anyone else's answers, because the one who questions is the one who has the answers. I do not have your answers because I do not have your questions. Everyone has their own questions to answer. Truth is the same for all beings, but how we come to its understanding is from the questions within ourselves. When one sits in stillness, revealed are answers to our questions. This is when agitations with yourself and with the world will be no more. An agitated mind always wants things different. So when now this is me talking, so every time that I'm saying something through this things that he's explaining, I stop and I says, do you have any questions? Because I'm addressing what he's talking about, but when I say, do you have any questions? I'm addressing you and your questions, and you're bouncing back and forth from me until you understand what you're asking. But if you don't ask the questions, your own questions, not mine, or or what I'm saying, if you don't ask those questions, you cannot get your answers. So I'm stopping and I'm asking, do you have any questions? It seems very easy, but it is a big, big subject in these few lines here, because it is addressing the reason you don't know. And it's addressing why we keep on going out there. Let me take this course and let me see this person and let me see a reader and let me see what such and such says, and then let me get that information, but that's not going to answer your questions. Learn to ask your own questions. And I go to different people that I know and I says, do you have any questions? And when they no longer have an interest on even, then I quit asking them, do you have any questions? I'll try my best to ask them, do you have any questions? But when I go and every time they say, no, not really, I'm tired, no, not really, no, or I had a question, but I didn't, well, evidently wasn't. It wasn't. I mean, it was, but you didn't consider that it was. If you had a question and you didn't get to ask it, you could have written it down. But that was your question, and you totally disregarded it. So pay attention. So a lot of times, oh yeah, I did have a question on a class or on something, and I had one of the reasons. I mean, I used to be a reader, and I had my own thing doing that, and I had a lot of people come to me, and until I became very aware that people did not even want to question their own things. They even came for me for the questions, for me to ask their questions for their own lives. Never mind for me to give them the answers. And I realized that was a disservice to them and to myself, because I wasn't really being in truth. Because I can see only what I'm limited to see according to their mind working at the time and where they were headed. But the truth is that they could have had so much more had they asked the questions, so they could be open and be clear about what they're seeing. Why don't I have things? Well, they say knock and you shall receive. Are you willing to ask the question? The questions necessary to answer your own dilemmas. And the sad part is that most people don't know, because they have never really stopped to see what it is they want. It's almost like their wants don't matter because they were in such a pressure to just get on to the next thing. I have to do this at this time, and I have to do that at that time, and I have to, and I have to, and I have to. Until when are we able to relax and thoroughly be who we are? And ask and be comfortable enough to ask our own questions and to resonate to who we truly are, because we know when we hear the answer if it's true for us or if it isn't. So learn to ask yourself the questions that you need. Not that you need, but that you would like to have answers to. It's not that complicated. But, we're always looking externally. The next reader, let me go to the next psychic or the next, and what happens then is you're always confined to the answers that that person has. And it can change at any time because you have free will. So you're not confined to a specific set of circumstances. So, questions before I go to the next thing? Yes, Sarah.
I feel like like all of this really ties into all the things we've been talking about before, just like said a little differently. But basically, anytime you react or feel agitated inwardly, it is all your own story and your own unconscious mind that is the reason for it. So I think so much time we want to externalize it, but that's basically what you're saying, right?
I'm saying yes, that you're reactive and you are agitated and you are, anytime that you are out of balance is because you are in the past or in the future and you're not present.
There's
You're unconscious, basically. That's what I'm
right,
saying.
some error in thought where you're not thinking a true belief and you're making it your story, you're attaching yourself to it. Okay.
Mhm. Okay. Next subject is flower stillness. A flower doesn't make itself grow. In the spring, it arises from stillness, and in the fall, it returns to its idleness. This occurs naturally from its own stillness, and it needs no assistance. When the stillness of a flower is seen as life itself and not as a flower, at this point the flower is truly seen. Through the flower is how you will begin to understand your own existence. When there's awareness of stillness within you, you will truly see yourself. This is when life begins to be seen as it is. It will be in this awareness of stillness that the stillness of the flower will be understood. Enjoy your life, but the joy is not in the things of life. Joy is in the experiences of stillness. Conditioning produces noise. Stillness produces joy. That which must seek to enjoy is noise. Joy cannot be attained because it's already there within you, and you cannot attain that which you already possess. This will only be known when there is stillness. So find a place to sit where it's quiet. Sit and be mindful for each breath, not your breathing in and out, but how each breath occurs on its own. Sit with this mindfulness. Watch how many breaths can be counted before the mind wanders. I get to about 50, and no matter how hard I concentrate, the mind wanders. When I began doing this, 6 was the number. This is one method used in developing the stillness discipline. When you know what noise is, it will be known what stillness is. Just watch the flower. Don't label it, just watch it. The flower never labeled itself. Through the stillness, it arises. It never consciously did anything. From the stillness of the universe, it appeared. And stillness is where all of life arises from, because stillness itself is life. Just go ask the flower. In the stillness of the flower, all of life is experienced. You got questions? I have answers.
Oh, but I think that's a really good.
And so do you. You have answers also. I say I have answers. You have questions, I have answers. But you have questions, you have answers. Yes, Sam.
No, this was just a comment. I like that idea. I've been having a hard time sitting quiet for about a month now, and I like that. You could start out at, you can take 5 breaths and keep track of it that way. I really like
Right.
that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I mean, and now he said 50. With me, I don't pay attention to that. I ignore the chatter. Like when you're hearing a radio, but it's in the background and you do not. It's just like noise in the background, but I don't focus on it. That's why I can be clear at times. When I need to be clear is because I'm not concentrating on the mind chatter. The mind chatter is that I'm not trying to stop it. That's not even a good thing to do. To try to stop the chatter is not the thing of meditation, although most people will tell you if you no longer have chatter, then you can have bliss, and that is okay. But that's not the reason that we meditate, is so you can be here without denial of anything. You do not deny what's in front of you, what you're hearing or not hearing, or trying not to hear what's naturally there.
We're trying to sit with it.
And a lot of people get the wrong information in meditation, and they think, well, everything has to be quiet, and then they learn to still the mind, but they're still in denial, because there's the denial of the present moment, which includes the chatter. You can hear the chatter, but not attached to it. I like a lot of times I can hear, and sometimes I'll go like, what did you say? Like, something catches my attention of where the chatter is going on, and I'm going, what? I'm going, no, that's not true. That's how I choose to do my. Uh, it's like a meditation, but it's not confined to a specific hour. It's always there. So if you learn to do that, you don't have to have specific hours of meditation, or you don't have, that's what is called ceaselessly being in the presence, because you're not attached to that, you're attached to the wholeness of who you are. That's and that's not even an attachment, that's an expression of what you naturally are, you know.
So when you're talking about chatter, are you talking about thoughts, like you're thinking things, or
Like in the back is going yakety yak 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 yak, and the thoughts, but I'm not paying attention to the thought. I'm not attached to it. I could be yakking away and I could care less.
so you
No,
come
but
back and
these are more advanced teachings. This is not your,
right.
guru type, like sit there, tight-lipped and sit straight with your column this way or that. You have to be able to be who you are at all times without having to acquire a specific position and a specific mindset and that's a very rigid and it's very egotistical. But you cannot tell people that, because they'll jump all over the place going, but I feel peaceful. Well, yeah, you felt peaceful because you detached. You are cutting the part of you that makes you agitated. The thing is, you're not cutting anything. You're just allowing things to be there without them perturbing you. Like a radio station in the background, you can ignore that. Learn to do that with your thoughts. It's a whole totally different thing to do. So any questions before I move on? Nope. Okay. The next little subject is worldly limits. When worldly methods are used as means to live by, there will be a one view limitation set by the content provided. But when the mind settles a second view of simply what's in front of you. And when that is provided, is provided with limitless content. When worldly methods are conformed to this, it leaves only one way to see life. Those methods are so restricted and limiting. It's really a wonder. We as a species are still around. We think by studying and reading books, we become knowing. But the only thing one knows by using those worldly methods is what the content of the book is. If the book isn't totally correct or only has partial facts about a subject, that will be what's learned. People get degrees because the contents of a book are memorized. Those worldly methods are used to create experts by the world standards, but this method produces a limited view of the way life is seen. The limit being whatever the content of a book is. We have wars against each other. We fight with each other all the time and mostly about nonsense. There is little unity in our world. Everyone thinks that they are right because of what the books say, but the books just fill one's head with noise. This noise is the only version of reality that will ever be seen unless the mind becomes quiet enough to allow a second version of reality to be seen. What happens when the mind settles? What happens when the mind settles? It allows for two versions of reality to be seen. One is the reality of the made-up stories of the conditioned mind, and the other one is the reality of seeing what's in front of you, because it's what's there. Both realities are from the same mind, but the latter will not be an option until the mind settles. When this occurs and the reality of a second view is seen, the limitations provided by the worldly methods fall by the wayside. This is when you will go beyond the limited view of the world to see the limitless view of what's in front of you. A limited mind limits itself. Questions? Yes, Donna.
Okay, this confuses me a little because I read a lot of books about consciousness, about spirituality, to raise my consciousness. So I just am not understanding what he's trying to convey here. Is
Okay,
it?
can I?
Yes, please.
I used to read a lot of books. I still do to some extent, and I didn't care if I had book this thick. I will say 90% of this is bull. You know, I knew what because it didn't resonate at all. And the 10% that wasn't, I said, but this 10% is pure gold. And,
Okay.
I will read books and took what the truth was. I distilled the truth of, when you have a question, it's because either it wasn't explained enough or because you misunderstood.
Okay.
Or the writer was not in the right mind all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that somebody would write something to try to be deceptive in a spiritual book. It's only to their way of understanding things. But that is what you get. That's how come it's previously was telling you to redirecting you to go into what your questions were. Not to so much go out there trying to find your answers on the outside. This is basically what is being taught right now. Do not go outside of yourself to find the answers. Go within.
I see.
You have a question? Yes. Yeah, and it takes a lot of walking to get to this point.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah,
Anybody?
I know what you're saying then is like when I read even like the Course in Miracles, not everything I read resonates with me.
And it doesn't have to.
Right,
What is true for you, because you're looking at you and it has to resonate with you.
right.
And because that will give you gazillions of information more than if you try to understand the whole thing. That's forced knowledge, and it
Right.
means that that didn't belong to you.
Yep.
Right? And if you're sitting like with somebody like me and you're asking questions, take only what resonates, what resonates with you, and
Yes.
everything else is like, I just cannot see that no matter what, and and if I was trying to fight you off on it, not like I am correct, then I would be answering out of ego, like
Right.
I have something to defend and I don't, so.
So those are internal answers is what you're saying. So when it resonates, whatever I'm reading or seeing, that resonates with me, it's basically answering questions that I have
Right.
internal.
But if you're looking at something and your judgment jumps in, and
Yep.
you will know it because it's noise, not stillness, not what I understand from stillness personally is when I'm not agitated, when I'm not uncomfortable, when I'm comfortable
Right.
in my skin. To me, that's stillness, not stillness of thought, not stillness, okay, I have to quit breathing or only have so many breaths per, I do all these practices because sometimes I would like to, get into a worldly situation, or I want to get into, or I'm having a hard time getting back into myself. But normally I don't. Or, if I, most usually when I struggle, for me, my struggling is falling asleep. I'm trying to sleep longer than what my body wants to sleep. So it's going like, okay, you need to sleep 8 hours. My body says 4. I'm going 8, 4. I'm trying to force something that is not in my best interest, so to speak. Although my mind is saying, the doctor said, the magazine said, the report said that you have to have, and I'm trying to get my body to get comfortable with what the world is saying, orders, that this is the way things are. But that's, when it comes to that part of my life, is one that I haven't quite, it's like, okay, everybody's going, if I don't sleep 7 or 8 hours a day, I blah, 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 Some people said I need more hours. And then I was with other people and they say, oh, 3 hours is enough. And I'm going 3, I need 4, but it's individual. It's, not
I
what the
understand.
world out there says, it's what I say is good for me. And
Yes,
we need to learn to listen to ourselves. Not
yes.
what we're being dictated to, not the curriculum that the outside world gave us.
Right. So it gives me peace. When it gives me peace, then I know it's resonating with me.
Right.
And it's answering my questions.
When you continuously are in balance and you're not swayed and you're not going, and your mind is not all over the place and you're not anxious and you're,
Agitated.
when
So
you're
for me,
comfortable in your skin.
so Angie, my situation would be like, I know I'm not supposed to eat all those cookies. That's something from the outside world that's teaching me, right?
Right.
But I'm agitated with that.
Because
It's like,
not only are
I'm
you
not
getting
supposed
the
to.
outside thing, but not only should you, but you're also getting the results. if
Yeah.
you eat this, then this is what's going to happen. And still,
Right.
this is what the outside world is mandating for you. So
Right.
you're
That's
following
true.
a script and you're saying, if I do this, this happens. And if
Yes.
I do that, something else happens. And that's not the truth. I mean, the truth is you came here to express you. If
Yes.
you want to be ruled by the outside world, is what causes the suffering. Okay?
Hmm. Yes, that's true. Yeah.
Not what's going on internally. Internally, it will always give you peace.
Hmm.
Always. There's not a time where when you are guided by internal forces that you are in disarray or that you are unbalanced or that you are. The moment that you become totally unbalanced and totally unhinged and totally, hopeless, copeless, and all of those, uh, that's when you know your ego is fighting for so much control
Hmm.
that
Yeah.
and that is what is causing the misery. The ego,
Hmm.
not you. You're not in mystery. Your ego is trying to make you you're the puppet. So the moment you
Hmm.
fall into those things,
Hmm.
realize that you the the ego has the strings and you are the puppet.
Hmm.
You are the program running, you know. You can call it
Yeah.
a program, you can call it a puppet, you can call it the ego, you can call it, um, but that is what the problem is.
Hmm.
Um, but we are pretty much, when you are comfortable. I mean, to me, sitting in comfort without an agenda in my mind, like meditation or like, okay, breath work, or I'm going to do this practice or that other practice, or, without an agenda in mind, that's when I'm at my best,
Hmm.
because that's when I listen for what spirit is prompting. If I have my own agendas going because I think that this is more spiritual, then I'm not listening, because I think that through meditation I'm listening and I'm right there. But if it's an inflexible thing, I have to be there at this time, or I have to do this at this time, or I have to, and your life becomes unmanageable. Got it?
Yep. Yes. Thank you.
So talking about that, the next topic is constant motion. When a person truly awakens, is to the energy of love, which is the core of the universe. This love lives on it lives on in those who are touched by it forever, because this is the way the energy of love rolls. There's one guarantee in life, and that is nothing stays the same. Everything is in constant motion, whether this is realized or not. A few years ago, my mom passed away. Her existence no longer met conditions to sustain life in her current form. So she passed on to whatever it is one passes on to. I know death is part of life. It just seems to push mortality a little more to the forefront when someone close dies. From the time her existence begins to the time it ends, life is in a constant state of motion until one day all motion, as this body knows, it stops. This is a part of the process of existence in this form. It's not personal, it just is. It may seem as though life becomes stagnant at times, but it's only the mind that makes this so. It is impossible for anything associated with life to be stagnant. Our cells are in constant flux as the universe, and when this is real life, life is lived anew in each moment because life is anew in each moment. It is only the conditioned mind that wants to put life in a box of space and time, because this is what it uses to try to make sense of things. Today, if you are alive, you are dying. But also today, if you are alive, you are living. Stagnation creates death. There's not much life in the Dead Sea, but a sea fed by rivers is full of life. My mom has passed on, but she will not be remembered in death. She will be remembered in life because of the flow of love from her heart. When one comes to an understanding that it's only the body that stops functioning, one awakens to the energy of love because it's the connection to the core of the universe. No one ever truly dies. We all live on in those who are touched by love forever, not for any other reason except that this is the way the energy of love rolls. There is always motion, but what is space? Yes, Miss Lila, Ras Lila.
So he was saying that love is the core of the universe. Is love also the core? My feeling is love is also the core of Mother Earth. Is that? Would you say that?
Everything is love. It is not assigned to just a few things like one planet or one moon or one galaxy, or everything that it's that has existence, not necessarily alive in aliveness, but that it has existence. It is the expression of love. Got it?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So, anybody else? I know Charlotte has a question. I just see the head over there bobbing. Ah, I had to
Well,
pick on you, Charlotte.
oh, okay. I love it. I don't know if I have a question about this part.
No, I
Or-
know you don't. I just had to
Oh.
pick on you.
Oh, okay. All
And
right.
okay, don't worry about it. Yes, Virginia, you did have a question.
Right before you asked for questions about this topic, you said the last sentence you said something about space. I didn't understand what that last sentence you said. Do you remember what that was? Was there something about space in that space, or?
Are you talking about in this last
Yeah, last section.
topic? In this last topic,
Uh-huh.
I don't see anything about space, but that doesn't mean that
Okay.
it wasn't there. Let me see. Maybe before.
It was right before you asked. You were talking about if we're alive, we're dying. But we're also living. No one truly dies. And then.
I said, okay, today, if you're alive, you're dying, but also today, if you are alive, you are living.
Right.
And then there's stagnation creates death. There's not much life in the, there's not much life in the Dead Sea, but a sea fed by rivers is full of life. And then it goes on to talk about when his mother passed, but there was no mention of space.
Okay, I misunderstood. Sorry.
Okay. Anybody else? No. Okay. The 9 I am. The only reason I am is denied is because there's a thought life isn't good enough. So it needs to be changed to what is deemed as pleasant. The I want, what I want, when I want it mind. You know, the personality that I used to tell you before. What's the personality? I am, I think, I feel, I want. Those are the calls of the personality of the ego. I am, I think, think, I am, I think, I feel, I am, I think, I want. And the I want is a very prevalent. I want this to be in this specific way. You're not behaving, you know, you were very unruly or very unbecoming, and that person was rude, and this was this way, and that was that way. It all dictates of the ego wanting things to be in a different way other than what they are. And some people will challenge you. You were not behaving. You were very unruly. You were very unbecoming. You were really, you know, and they're pointing at you, but they really should be pointing towards themselves. When we do that, we really should be pointing towards us because we are the ones attempting to control others' behaviors. The greatest challenge in waking up is being able to just be with I am, adding nothing, taking nothing away. When there's awareness of this, even for 1 second, liberation follows. There's no proving yourself in the I am. The conditioned mind will deny this, and at first this will be strong, but as time goes on and I am stands unshaken, the denying will lessen as it loses energy. But conditioning is in place to strengthen the grip that makes one attached to everything except I am. This attachment comes in many shapes and forms, and they are in the norm of what the world offers. But the world is misleading in what it offers. It promises liberation, but it doesn't make good on it. It may give you all the stuff that it says is needed for liberation. But even if one attains the whole world but loses themselves, they have attained nothing, especially liberation. Space needs to create between I am and your story. So now the word space is here, Virginia. So maybe that's, you needed to pay attention here. Space needs to create between I am and your story. The more space there is, the more liberation there will be. It's simple math. The more you spend time in the space of I am, the more love there will be in your life. More lives are lived with denying energy without even realizing it is occurring. Anytime a story is added to I am, true love of the heart is being denied. This is when the conditioned mind takes over to make up a story of what needs to be reached for, so life can be pleasant. After all, the only reason something is denied is because there's a thought the present moment isn't good enough. That's the thought that, you know, whatever is presented in front of you is not good enough. You want something else because it's not acceptable. So it needs to be changed to what is deemed as pleasant. The I want, what I want, when I want it mind. In the space of I am, nothing needs to be added because nothing needs to be different. So in this space, there's the understanding. I am is enough. I am enough. Questions?
Yep.
Yes, Penny.
I just missed a statement that you made. You said space needs to create between I am and your story. The more space, the more I got
The more space there is, the more liberation there will be.
liberation. Okay, that's a good important word. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
So, anyone? Questions? Answers? Yes, Sarah.
So, any attachment we have to our story gets in the way of us being present and connecting with the I am. So every story, a story like, you know, I am a 37-year-old woman who's married with one child who lives in Newport
That's the
Richie.
story. You cannot have a story with the I am. The more space without the addition is I am, period. I am that I am that I am that I am that I am. It doesn't say I am God and I am this and I am that and I am a mother and I'm a daughter and I'm, you know, it's just, it says I am that I am that I am that I am. It doesn't add anything to it.
So
In the original story in the Bible.
losing every label you've ever attached to yourself.
Right, because your identity doesn't matter.
Right. So what about even the good ones? Like, I am beautiful. I am
No,
talented.
because that's ego related. That's going to, oh, I have to separate good and bad, creating a division, even the good ones. When you throw out the bad, you have to throw away the good also. And that's where most people have the ouch, you know, because they want what they want when they want it. Yes,
Right.
Penny.
Okay, so where I'm confused here is, I guess you're talking about it as spiritual beings, but in the human form, we have to have stories because people would never be able to have jobs. You have to fill out an application to have a job. You have to tell people about yourself if you're going to the doctor's office. I mean, we're always asked to tell our story in one form or another in the human experience. So you're talking about the spiritual experience that we're going to have the most liberation, because I mean, when we get together, even as a social beings, we talk about our stories, and sometimes our stories are fun to talk about, especially if we talk about when we were kids and how much fun we had. You know,
every time I ask you a question, I start the class with stories.
Yeah.
I said, what was the story? How did you get up today? How did you know, what do you think of this? You know,
so
that is conversational. Basically, when we're talking the stories we tell ourselves when we are trying to justify our judgment. It's a justification of what is. The reason I am upset is because, oh, I don't like this, or I don't like that behavior. I think people are being abused, or children are being abused, or drugs are being used here, or there's sex traffic, or there is a pimp down the street, or there's some whatever. Put the question mark in there. There's a prostitute down the street. There's somebody unruly, somebody misbehaving. There is some what do you call it? A bully. There's all kinds of things, and you are trying to justify something. It's a justification. And I'm talking justification with you and your 2 ears, not justification with you and the outside world. This is your self-talk. I am. You don't have to say, well, I am angry. Well, I am this. Well, I'm dissatisfied. Listen to the words where you use I am. Well, I was in a hurry. I was here and I was, I was perturbed because, somebody was being snippy. And it's on the past tense, and you will use the word, when you're not using I am, you're using I was or I will be. Pay attention to when you use the three different things because each one will tell you something. And the I am should not be added to I am something. For example, I am angry. No, you're not angry. You choose to express the emotion of anger, but you are not anger. Everything that you try to put as I am is not an I am. An emotion is not who you are. You're not an emotion. You're not your thoughts, emotions, feelings, etc. I can go down the line. And whatever you add to I am is really not that. When somebody, like you were saying in the, when you're making an application, that's just social, that's you with your way of living. And these are the directives of this world that you have to fill an application. So you fill the application of what the body does, but that's not who you are.
Okay, so you're just talking about your story for being a human, having a spiritual experience versus, again, the spiritual being, I guess.
Right, but I mean, that does not define who you are.
Yeah, okay.
When you're expressing as a human, that's not who you are.
Okay.
So I want you to separate that because most people cannot separate that.
I see.
And that is the major problem of everybody in acquiring the oneness, because they cannot separate the identification, the ID. They cannot separate, oh my God, who am I if I am not Penny? Who am I if I'm not the helper? Who am I if I'm not the mother of these cats and the caregiver? And who am I if I don't have, if I'm not the sister or the niece or the, take whatever title you want to. If I take all those titles away and all those labels and your age and all your skills, can you still be comfortable with who you are? If I said, you don't need to give me any labels. I don't need to know who you are according to your identity because it doesn't matter. Are you okay with that?
Me?
Yes. Any of us.
Oh,
Are you
I
okay?
haven't really tried that yet. I haven't tried to be comfortable in my own skin without having some kind of story. So I guess
Right, right now we're looking at that specifically. We're talking about starting to say, okay, I am, because you cannot get into that space where Jesus was in the sense of, excuse me, where Jesus is. When there's parts in the Bible that are very demanding, and it says, for example, what I can do, you can do, and many things will you do also, and even bigger things than I have done. And if you are with the conception of who you are as a story, it's a very limited story. You can never achieve omnipresence, omnipotence, and omniscience because you are so attached to the limitations of what the persona is. And the persona is trying so hard to hold on to those limitations. But you are being asked to, at this time, start to choose peace. You know, choose and choose again, but choose peace. Choose peace means choose spirit. Don't choose the body. Don't choose the flesh. The flesh profits nothing. My goodness, time passes by so fast. Okay. So I am opening the floor for questions. Any questions of any kind during the whole thing? Yes, Virginia?
So when you're talking about letting go of the story and identifying with only with the I am, what comes to mind for me is that meditation of practice of sitting with the question, what am I? To release the story. Is that one way to get to that consciousness?
No,
Okay. Can you tell me why not?
I just explained it earlier before before the last two stories. I was saying about meditation practices as used as tools for things, and people start using that instead of not disowning the thought, of not, in other words, do not use meditation or anything as a thing that's the thing to get you past certain things. And specifically, I was talking about meditation. So you might have to rewind the thing and listen to that. But if you believe that at this time it might still help you if you're still in that space, if you want to use that, you can. Diane, you had a question.
Mine was more of a comment as far as from what I'm getting from today's lesson, as far as staying present in the present moment by being in the I am. And then when it comes to the things that we dive into to learn, whether it be reading or what have you, again, staying in that present moment of what feels comfortable to us. Would that be kind of a good overview of what we've just kind of discussed?
I must have missed something. Can you reword that? I missed something. I know I did.
Objective. Yeah, what I get from today, because it says to deny the I am, was where you started going off on as far as talking about it. So if we stay present in the here and the now, and then we also, when we do venture to learning things, the things that resonate with us that feel right are the things that we want to incorporate into our beingness, into our doing, staying present in the here and now. And then sharing that as far as with those that we come in contact with. Because right now, that's my biggest challenge, is how to share the sense of spirituality with those that are coming up underneath me.
Before you can share, you have to learn it.
Right.
Okay, before I sit down to have this class, I have to understand what I'm teaching you. If I cannot explain to you what I'm teaching, what I am saying, I cannot really teach it. If I'm just repeating like a parrot what a book says, you know, and without the understanding the actual, what have I done about it, then I really cannot, I'm not qualified to really go in depth. So it's okay to teach what you know. So always look at what is being asked of you. Something is being asked of you, or if you're teaching your children, how to be happy, or how to whatever it is you're teaching them. If the opportunity presents itself, you teach that. You don't just start rambling off information without an opening for it. So you don't just start teaching, guess what, blah, 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 blah. Even when I try to teach outside of a class, I'll usually go to people and say, do you have questions? Do you have any questions? I mean, and it was not a classroom setting or anything. I've just asked them if they have questions. Before you start giving information, ask somebody if they have questions. Because the moment they have questions, not only do you have answers, but you're also inviting the higher realm to come and speak through you. Most people will tell you, no, I can't think of one question right now. Not right now, I'm tired. No, ask me later. Or I did have a question, but I did, I don't know what it is. And I already addressed that earlier with, if you don't even allow yourself to ask questions, and you cannot even remember to write it down, then you're totally ignoring yourself. Pay attention. Well, you were going too fast. Well, if something is important, wait a minute. Can you hold on a minute? I didn't get that. As I'm talking, you can say, can you repeat that? Not just, okay, well, you were going so fast that I didn't have time to. No, you have the ability to raise your hand and go, can you repeat that, please? Everything that we do has a resonance, but find that if a true resonance, what I don't want you to do is find out that the things you want are only the things that you resonate to, because that can be very egoistic. Because not everything you want is necessarily what spirit wants. Maybe you wanting something to, that has nothing to do with what you truly want. It might be a need, it might be an ego trip, it might be something else. So find out when you think you're resonating, if it's really a resonance or if it's really a want.
Okay.
So so the question is, what do you have any more?
Mine wasn't so much a question, it was just kind of trying to grasp the concept of what we were discussing today and what have you.
Okay.
As far as the that I want kind of thing, and then going into that with what you shared and what have you.
Today's story had to do with letting go the story, not only in the past and future, but also with the identity. And we didn't get that much into it, but the identity is also being asked to. The more that you, if you want to be in the space that Jesus was functioning, and you can be, and all of us can be. There's no. It's not a great feat, but it is a wanting to let spirit take the lead and not you. As how come Jesus always said, you have seen me, you have seen the Father, because he was acting as the Father, not as the person, as the personality. So he had let go of the persona. Okay, I'm going to close the class. I'm going to ask you to put your hands in your heart, on your heart, and close your eyes. allowing peace and relaxation in your mind, allowing the breath to be felt, taking in a big breath at your own pace, and exhale at your own pace. And again, take an in breath. The more that you breathe during this time, the more that you are getting more relaxed and more present within yourself, allowing peace and relaxation, allowing joy, allowing yourself to relax. You're able to relax if you want to. Everything is an allowing, including relaxation. So let's allow relaxation, allow calmness and peace. Relax your shoulders, relax your middle back and your neck. Allow your muscles to drop slightly, to relax. Allowing your face muscles to relax. Relaxing your forehead. Become aware of your ears. Your ears become more acute as time passes by. I want you to make these words your own. I am in this present moment. I am surrounded by my friends. I am surrounded by life. And I am able to feel the space in between me and my thoughts. I am able to feel connected to the source of all that is. I am energy, and I flow continuously uninterrupted as I'm being allowed to flow in relaxation, to flow in joy and calmness. I am open and available to relax in this moment and to connect to my higher mind. I am available for infinite wisdom to flow through me. I am an open channel for myself, for my expression, and to help others when asked to. I am confident. I follow my intuition. I know all I need to know, because the information is within me. I am confident that I am able to integrate this new information. I am more harmonious with my soul. I am expanding myself into unlimitedness. I am awareness. I am of service for myself and for everyone. I am awareness itself. I am completely conscious of this universe being safe and friendly. I am safe. I am in alignment as I am surrounded by love. I am infinite intelligence. Love works through me in miraculous ways in my life. Life is good to me. I am a bright light of ideas exploding inside. I am supported by a positive, healthy, and happy mindset. I know life is happening for me, not to me, but for me. I always find a way to align properly. I'm always in the right place and in the right time. Everything is always working out for me. I easily meet beautiful souls. I am relaxed. I am positive. I am confident. I am satisfied. I am uplifting myself up. I'm lifting myself up. I feel good. I am free. I am good to me. I am good to my body, to my mind and my emotions. I am able to breathe deeply and unrestricted. I enjoy life. I am powerful. I allow myself to believe that I am powerful because I am powerful. I am expanding in my awareness of who I am. I am grateful. I'm appreciative of my life. what I'm going through, what I have gone through. I allow myself to become joyous because everything that I have gone through has brought me to this moment. In this moment, I can allow myself to feel safe. I am conscious and aware. I have wonderful experiences. I am thankful for all the beautiful people in my life. I am thankful for all the magnificent expansion that is going on through the process of my life. I love myself. I'm allowing myself the idea that I am lovable, that I am loved and loving. I'm allowing myself the idea that I am safe because I am safety. I am as God created me. I am the perfection of all that is because I am that I am, that I am. I am unconditionally loving myself. I am unconditionally accepting myself. I am unconditionally accepting and loving others. I allow myself to step back and relax and allow what is to be what it is. I am aware that I am energy itself and that I can call forth that energy and that awareness. And I can transform this energy and awareness into the energy that gives me answers and ideas and gives me energy. I am an energetic being. I am the Christ. I am the Buddha. I am the Krishna. I am that I am that I am. And I am graceful and smooth in the dealings with myself and others. I'm allowing myself to accept myself as I am without explanations, without justifications, without conditions. I am allowing space for the unknown to unfold in my experience. I am fun. I am joy. I am a delight of life. I relax in all of my abilities of everything that I am. I am able to realign my energy at any time. I am aligned with peace, with love, with understanding, with purpose, with solutions, with new ideas, with personal and professional development. with infinite opportunities as I easily learn, grow, move, and release into love. I am that I am that I am. Taking a deep breath, and I want you to put your hands towards the screen. And as we call our energy forth, the energy of healing, we call this energy forth from the depths of our being to flow through our hands and flow into each and every one of us. This is our time for us. This is our time for us exclusively. Allow yourself to be flooded with the love that each one of us is sending to each other. Send love now. Send love, peace, and healing, and acceptance. And just keep sending. Know that the energy is flooding us, and include the ones that are not present at the moment. Allow everyone in our group to be loved and cherished because the universe loves and cherishes. We are wanted. We are divinely wanted and cherished and adored. Okay, put your hands back on your heart and send that energy to you. Breathe in that energy. Again. One last time, breathe in. Send in that energy. Now breathe in and come back into your body fully, feeling your chair and your body. And when you are ready to come back, please come back fully. So, everyone, thank you. Namaste. Blessings.
Thank you.
Thank you, Angie.
Blessings.
Thank you, Virginia, too.
Thank
And
you.
everybody else for coming to class.
Okay. I appreciate it, everybody, and I hope that you enjoyed today's classes. I most certainly did. So let's see how where we end up next week. I still have parts of this that I did not that we didn't finish for today. It was quite a bit of things that I had. So hopefully we'll continue next week where we left off. And just know that next week you're gonna be the teachers. I'm gonna read and you're gonna tell me what the class is about, what the paragraph is about, as I called you into explaining. So you get the opportunity to give the answers. Yeah, are you asking a question, Diane, or are you just giving me a thumbs up? Okay, thumbs up, okay. So unfortunately, I
Well,
didn't leave.
my phone is at like 2%. My phone is at 2%, so I'm liable to drop off. It's not that I hung up on you guys, but my phone is
Well,
almost dead.
we're about
Thank you
to
much.
leave. We run out of time. So I was just fixing to say that we have come to the end of the class because I went longer in the meditation than I thought. But thank you, everybody. I enjoyed each and every one of you. I love you all. Namaste.
Namaste.
Virginia, can I ask you a question afterwards? Just a quick question. Okay.